The Reserve Bank of India's State of the Economy report, which is out just a fortnight after the Monetary Policy Committee review meeting that took place, where the Reserve Bank of India held interest rates or did not change interest rates for the fifth consecutive monetary policy review. Now, this State of the Economy report says that if you are thinking inflation is coming within line, within comfort level in that 4% range, and you're hoping that there is going to be a rate cut sooner than later, then you've got to hold on to your horses, because that's not what is going to happen. Because this State of the Economy report, while giving the Indian economy a double thumbs up and its growth rate a double thumbs up, also talks about the risks of rising food prices that will not be going away anytime soon. And that is the reason why we should not be expecting a rate cut anytime soon.
So, Krishna, I think we had seen great momentum in inflation coming down when the RBI had done the successive rounds of rate hikes.
Right.
But since the month of September, October, RBI has pushed that pause button and has not tinkered with rates. However, while the inflation was coming in line closer to RBI's target of 4%, we saw that target actually become elusive as inflation data for the month of November came in, where inflation on the back of food inflation, like you mentioned, went as high as 5.6%.
Right.
Now, from a 4.9% average for September-October to a straight 5.6% in the month of November means that obviously inflation continues to be sticky. Now, if inflation is sticky, and inflation being sticky on the back of food prices, headlines are obviously not going to augur well for RBI. Now, RBI's latest estimates in the State of the Economy report suggest that for the month ending December as well, the average for the whole quarter of October, November, December would also stick at about 5.6% or so.
Right.
However, because we had seen better lower inflation months in the past, the average for the financial year could come to about 5.4%. 5.4% is still a 1.4% higher than RBI's estimate of 4%, or target rather of 4%. And even for FY25, inflation is likely to come in the range of about 5.2% or so. So from what it seems right now, from where we are sitting, and we don't know how geopolitical events and macroeconomy per se, and now this new strain of COVID could again play some sort of games with the overall economic growth story. But keeping all those measures aside, right now, looking just as pure economic indicators as we know them, it doesn't seem likely that even for the entire financial year of 25, starting 1st of April 2024 to 31st of March 2025, inflation is not likely to be in the 4% target, which means for another full year, another full financial year next year, rate cuts may also be elusive.
Right, that means full financial year means you're talking about an entire calendar year that's going to go by without rate cuts of 2024.
And another quarter.
And another quarter in the next calendar year, which is the year 2025. The question I'm asking here is that, obviously global factors also play a role, but India has, been taking calls based on its own reality, while there is also all this talk about will the US Federal Reserve cut interest rates, and many saying that there is absolutely no chance. People are overreading into the commentary from US Fed Chair Jerome Powell. As we speak, Kartik, there has been a big inflation drop in the United Kingdom. And the Bank of England could be cutting interest rates going forward. In a situation like this, do you think that India will, at the end of the day, just keep looking at its CPI inflation and WPI inflation and let only that determine whether we need a rate cut or not going forward?
So, Krishna, I believe RBI has been fairly clear that India's monetary policy will run independent of how monetary policies, tightening or loosening of purse strings, are happening across the rest of the world. Which means that even if there is a positive commentary coming from the Fed or the Bank of England or the Bank of Japan for that matter, unless India's own macroeconomic situation and India's own inflation is not looking in line with the RBI's target, RBI is not going to come under pressure. And Shaktikanta Das, having completed 5 years in office now, is also coming out on record and saying that the RBI's focus, not necessarily India's focus, But RBI's focus is inflation as priority 1 and growth as priority 2. The government has enough in its own arsenals by way of fiscal policy and SOPs, etc. to control growth, but inflation seems to be RBI's #1 priority. So RBI, I doubt, is going to come under pressure from any other rate hike, rate cut, rate pause decisions anywhere else in the world. It is only and only going to look at inflation in India.
Right, and it's a very important point you made in between all of that. It's been 5 years since Mr. Shaktikanta Das took over as RBI governor. It's been a term in which balance has been the key word, isn't it? Striking a balance between growth and inflation, and that tightrope walk is set to continue going into 2024 and possibly into the year 2025.
But Krishna, one sort of warning bell, not a mayday yet, not an emergency, but one little signal of warning coming from the RBI State of the Economy report also suggests that if inflation continues to be sticky for FY25 and if rate cuts do not happen, then growth could falter as well. So the term falter with respect to India's growth has also been mentioned in the report.